Hey, I'm Austin. And for my peer review people, I got Ian, Logan, and Sydney. Um, Starting off with Ian, his paper was on how music affects the brain. I think he did a really nice job presenting information and highlighting different sources. You had a lot of different sources and a lot of variety. I really like that. Also, you took a very scientific tone to the paper. So that was pretty cool, especially with how much different information you had that really felt right, that you used a scientific tone. Personally, this is a personal thing. I would argue with your claim on the drawbacks of music. Yes, listening to sad music can cause depression, but that's ultimately kind of the choice of the listener, and they kind of know, I feel like, what they're doing. And I wouldn't regulate the industry, but that's just a me thing. So go for it if you want to. But overall, great job. On to Logan. His issue was on satellite pollution, such as SpaceX, who are putting out tons of satellites to aid in their wireless data. Forgot what it's. Why did I forget what it? Starlink. Yes, Starlink. I like how you outlined all of the problems and you presented realistic ideas and evidence as solutions. That was pretty cool. You also explained very well why these problems mattered. You used migratory birds using the stars, which I did not know. I did not know that. But apparently migratory birds use like how stars will revolve around one point in the sky, and as you get closer to the equator, that point gets closer to the horizon, and they could mistake satellites as stars, throwing them off. That was pretty cool. One thing that I think you might have been able to improve is this is just an outline thing. Your paragraphs were like really big. I feel like you could break those up a little bit. And you didn't give many examples to the legal loopholes you talked about, and how they actually affect the satellite pollution problem. One other thing that I would... Nope, that's it. Yeah. And for Sydney, she did how social media affects teens. I liked how you really outlined the topic. The essay was engaging, and you presented a ton of good points on why social media could be damaging to developing teens. Although I feel like there were a few instances that I think you missed out on putting citations in quotes, which I think is kind of important, especially formatting-wise. That's a pretty important thing to do. For instance, you used a Bible verse and you didn't put it in quotes, and you may have used other quotes, but you didn't quote. Well, you did cite them, but you didn't put them in quotation marks. You had great ideas. I would recommend going into your ideas more in depth and maybe finding more sources to back up your claims. But other than that, it was a pretty good job. So yeah, and that is it.